War does not always end when the guns fall silent. Sometimes it lingers in cracked walls, collapsed roofs, empty streets, and rooms that were never entered again. Across the world, entire cities and buildings remain frozen in the exact moment violence tore through them. These places are not ruins from ancient history. They are modern homes, schools, hospitals, and streets that once held ordinary lives. This is not a story about battles or tactics. This is a story about consequences. When cities stop breathing. A living city has a rhythm, footsteps on sidewalks, lights switching on at dusk, windows opening in the morning. When war arrives, that rhythm breaks, and sometimes it never returns. In some cities, destruction was so complete that rebuilding became impossible. Not because people didn't want to return, but because there was nothing left to return to. Infrastructure collapsed, water systems failed, roads were mined, entire neighborhoods became unsafe to enter. Over time, nature began to reclaim what people lost. Trees grew through cracked asphalt. Vines wrapped themselves around shattered balconies. Birds nested where families once slept. These cities are not ancient ruins. They were alive within the last century, some within the last few decades. Varosha, Cyprus, a city locked in time. Before 1974, Varosha was one of the most glamorous resort destinations in the Mediterranean. Tourists filled its beaches, hotels lined the coast, cafes, cinemas, boutiques, and apartment buildings buzzed with life. Then war came. During the conflict in Cyprus, Varosha was evacuated almost overnight. Tens of thousands fled, believing they would return in days or weeks. Instead, the city was sealed off by military forces and left untouched for decades. Inside Varosha, furniture still sits in hotel lobbies. Clothing hangs in shop windows, faded by sunlight. Children's toys remain scattered across apartment floors. Bullet holes pepper concrete walls. Plants grow through living rooms. No one rebuilt it. No one moved back. The city was not destroyed by total bombardment. It was destroyed by abandonment. Varosha became a place where time stopped. Oradour-sur-Glane, France. A village preserved in grief. On June 10, 1944, the village of Oradour-sur-Glane was alive with normal life. Shops were open, children were in school, families were at home. By nightfall, the village was gone. Nazi forces rounded up the population. Men were shot. Women and children were locked inside a church that was set on fire. Nearly the entire village was killed in a single day. After the war, France made a decision. Oradour-sur-Glane would not be rebuilt. Instead, it would remain exactly as it was left. Burned-out cars still sit rusting in the streets. Stone houses stand roofless, walls blackened by fire. Sewing machines, bicycles, and baby carriages remain where they were abandoned. This village is not a ruin from neglect. It is a deliberate memorial, an unchanging reminder of what happened when violence targeted civilians. Sarajevo, scars that never fully healed. Sarajevo survived, but it never fully recovered. During the Bosnian War in the 1990s, the city endured the longest siege in modern history. Snipers targeted civilians. Mortars fell daily. Buildings absorbed thousands of bullets. Today, Sarajevo is alive again, but the scars remain everywhere. Apartment blocks still bear pockmarks from gunfire. Schools and hospitals show shrapnel damage. Sidewalks are stained with Sarajevo roses, red resin filling mortar craters where people were killed. Before the war, Sarajevo was known for its multicultural coexistence. Mosques, churches, and synagogues stood side by side. After the war, trust was harder to rebuild than buildings. Sarajevo shows that even when cities return, they carry memory in their walls. Pripyat, Ukraine, evacuated forever. Pripyat was not destroyed by bombs, but by fear. Built to house workers of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, it was a modern Soviet city with schools, parks, cinemas, and apartment blocks. In 1986, after the nuclear disaster, the entire population was evacuated in less than 48 hours. Residents were told they would return in a few days. They never did. Today, Pripyat is empty. Classrooms still have notebooks on desks. Amusement park rides never opened. Apartments remain filled with furniture, photographs, and personal belongings. The buildings are decaying not from explosions, but from time and radiation. Trees grow through stairwells. Wildlife roams freely. Pripyat is a city paused between life and decay, a reminder that war and disaster do not always look like gunfire. Aleppo, Syria, a city broken open. Before the Syrian civil war, Aleppo was one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth. Its markets were alive with trade. Its neighborhoods held generations of families. Years of fighting shattered it. Entire districts collapsed. Historic buildings were reduced to rubble. Bullet holes layered over bomb scars. Homes were split open, exposing kitchens, bedrooms, and staircases to the sky. Millions fled. Some returned. Many could not. Aleppo's old city, once a UNESCO World Heritage Site, became a battlefield. Recovery has been slow, complicated by ongoing instability, poverty, and displacement. Aleppo stands as a reminder that ancient history offers no protection from modern war. What these buildings still say. Every abandoned building tells two stories. The first is what happened there, the violence, the fear, the sudden end of normal life. The second is who lived there. A cracked school chalkboard still holds half-written lessons. A child's bedroom still displays faded posters. A hospital corridor still smells faintly of disinfectant. These are not anonymous ruins. They belong to people who cooked meals, argued, laughed, planned futures. War freezes these moments forever. Why some places never recover? Not every destroyed city stays abandoned. So why do some never come back? Sometimes the land remains unsafe. Mines, radiation, unstable structures. Sometimes political disputes prevent resettlement. Sometimes the cost of rebuilding is too great. Sometimes the memory is too painful. In other cases, communities are scattered so widely that returning becomes impossible. Children grow up elsewhere. New lives replace old roots. What remains is silence. Before and after. The sharpest contrast. Before the war, these streets were crowded with daily life. Vendors calling out prices, children running between market stalls, neighbors stopping to talk in doorways. Buildings echoed with laughter, arguments, music, and the ordinary sounds of people simply living. Windows were open not from destruction, but to let in light and air. Doors were locked at night with the expectation that they would be opened again in the morning. After the war, those same streets are silent. Roads stretch empty for miles. Roofs have collapsed inward, and walls are split open, exposing rooms that were never meant to be seen from the outside. The only movement comes from the wind pushing through broken windows or loose metal sheets clattering where families once slept. Before homes were designed for warmth, privacy, and safety, they were places of routine and comfort, built to protect lives within them. After, they are nothing more than fragile shells, cold, exposed, and unstable. Furniture lies where it fell. Personal belongings remain untouched, slowly decaying. The difference is not only physical, it is human. It is the absence of voices, footsteps, and futures that should have continued, but never did. The true cost of war weapons destroys structures, but war destroys continuity, the fragile thread that connects yesterday to tomorrow. It interrupts lives mid-sentence, cutting short conversations, plans, and routines that were never meant to end. It leaves cities unfinished, with buildings standing half-complete and neighborhoods frozen in the moment everything stopped. Homes that once held warmth and memory are turned into silent exhibits of loss, preserving the absence rather than the life that once filled them. These frozen places are not just reminders of conflict, they are warnings. They show what happens when violence outlasts peace, when displacement becomes permanent, and when rebuilding walls cannot restore what was taken from the people who live there. No amount of concrete can replace trust, belonging, or the sense of home that war strips away. The ghosts of war are not spirits or shadows. They are the empty rooms, the bullet-scarred walls, the abandoned streets, and the cities still waiting for footsteps that will never return.